Heyo folks, it's Ham the Guinness Gamer here again, bringing you episode 3 of my Civ 6 Complete Beginner's Guide. Going straight into it, starting off where the last video ended, we are just going to click end turn here. We're one turn away from creating a builder, so that'll be the first thing we concentrate on in this next turn. Now, we discussed it before in the last episode, what I was going to do and where I'm going to upgrade first. What I'd said was the stone and the pasture, probably, and then maybe the horses. If you mouse over each of these tiles when you bring your worker across, it'll show, well, it shows you the recommended improvement here, pasture, but if you look down the right hand corner, it shows you roughly what you can build. For the horses, it should always be a pasture, because what this does, as well as upgrading the tile and giving you, it'll say down here, giving you an extra production on the tile, so to bring this from a 2 food 2 production tile to a 2 food 3 production tile for the city, for the citizen that's working in the city. It will also provide you with the strategic resource of horses. Now, if you haven't guessed it, horses are used for making military units on horseback. Fairly self-explanatory, but what you will get, you'll get a limited number of them, and once we actually upgrade, I'm going to upgrade this first, I believe that'll be an extra production. When I upgrade it, it will depend. Okay, it's being worked, so I will upgrade it first. So in order to upgrade it, you just left click your builder and send him here. Now it'll take him a whole turn to walk there. So next turn is when he will build what we need to build. And I'll discuss that in more detail then. What I need to do next is move my warrior. Now that is another barbarian scout, so I'm going to send my warrior in that general direction. I don't want him to come upon my city like the other guy did and then run back and tell people that I'm there. So I'm actually going to attack him with my scout as well. See if I can maybe wipe him out. It's not going to kill him this turn, but I'll weaken him, and maybe I'll get him with either my scout or my warrior in the next turn. Of course, this will be the guy that gets away. I said the barbarian in episode 2 was definitely going to get away, and I caught him, so I'm saying I'm going to catch this guy. He is probably going to get away because of that. Now, back to the city. Now that we have produced the builder, we have another production to choose in the city. Our options, they're still fairly limited until we get more research under our belts. This stage, you could do a few different things. I haven't actually discussed through each of these, so I'll go through them now. We've already built the builder and the scouts. We know what those do. The settler, we know what he does. You build him and he'll settle our second city for us. Warrior fights, same as that guy there. And the slinger is the first. It's a military unit. It's the first ranged unit in the game, and generally the way the military works in this is your ranged units. Yeah, well, they can shoot a tile away. So if my slinger was sitting up here on that tile, he could shoot at this scout without taking any damage. So when I hit him with a melee unit, the barbarian scout gets the chance to attack back, like he did there when I just attacked him with my scout. Whereas if I was hitting him with a slinger, I'm just attacking him from range and just sort of peppering him with, well, for in a slinger's case, rocks. And he just there, the barbarian scout just takes damage. Then my slinger doesn't take damage. However, in the barbarian scout's turn, if he then decides to attack my slinger, which he probably would, he would do a high amount of damage to the slinger, because it's a melee unit attacking a ranged unit in melee combat. So, you know, that scout's weak, so it probably wouldn't kill a slinger, but if the scout's full health and the slinger's full health, the scout would annihilate him. And scouts aren't good at fighting in melee. They're probably the worst melee unit, because they're essentially a scout more than a military unit. But that's how ranged units work. That's how slingers work. And then later on you'll get archers and crossbowmen, and as technology advances, your ranged units will advance, and ultimately you get units that can shoot 2 tiles. I think crossbowmen should be able to shoot 2 tiles, and then you end up with artillery and such later on in the modern era that can shoot 3 tiles. So obviously that gives you a whole lot more of an advantage if you have a line of melee units along the front line and then loads of range behind ranged units. Then your ranged units just pepper the enemy lines, and your melee units then can hoover up the pieces. But for now, ultimately I think I will produce a slinger, but maybe that'll be the next production after this one. But this one I'm going to build a monument. Now what a monument does, I briefly touched on the culture in this earlier. Um, the monument will increase your culture by 1 per turn in the city. So it'll bring our 2.1 up in the top left up to 3.1 once I actually build it. And what that'll do is it will increase the speed at which we are unlocking civics. So this foreign trade will go down from 13 turns to a much lower figure once we actually build the monument. Now it will take 8 turns here to build, but still it's worth building that fairly early on to get your civics researching, because some civics later on are pretty important and you don't ever want to really run behind or fall behind in the civics tree. You know, some would argue, I suppose, that the research tree is more important. Some would maybe argue that the civics tree is more important. Generally, they're both pretty important, and you want to keep up to date with the both of them. Now, you can focus more on one than the other, you know, because there is such a thing as a science victory. So you'd focus more on research. There's also such a thing as a culture victory, so you could focus more on civics and culture. But generally, the two of them are fairly important. Right, for this next turn, I wasn't watching there to see where that barbarian ran to. So there he is. Okay, well, this one is making a boob just like his cousin in the last episode, because he is going to get squished between my scout and my warrior in the next turn. Now, back here then, yes, our builder is ready to build our pasture. So to build it, you just click down here. The only ones that you're actually able to build will be, they won't be grayed out. All the rest of them are grayed out, because you wouldn't, if you ultimately, if you ended up building something else, if you built a farm here, you would actually destroy the horses and you would lose them. So the only way you can actually get use of the horses is to build the improvement that is made for that resource, and in this case it's a pasture. And if you see here down the right hand corner, then it gives us the 1 production on the tile, but then it gives us +2 horses per turn. So he's gonna build this immediately, which he did there, used one of the builder's charges, as discussed before, one of his 3 charges. What that's done now that we have unlocked horses, we have got a Eureka moment for our research of horseback riding, which makes complete sense. So next time, so when we go in here, might be one of the next ones we actually learn, we go in here for horseback riding. We don't actually have it available yet. Where are we? Horseback riding, there we are there. So after, once we learn archery, then we'll be able to unlock a horseback riding. And if you see here, because the boost, as discussed in the last episode, we actually already have a third of it researched, which is good. So that'll take 22 turns instead of the 36 that it otherwise would have. So now that we've done that, right, we've upgraded that. We'll kill him next turn, hopefully, depending on where he goes. He'll run up there, mightn't get him, but I'll keep hunting him down. Ooh, okay, now there's a barbarian warrior. And one thing that was shown a couple of turns ago, and another one's just been shown now, is city-states. Now city-states are these cities here. Zanzibar is one, and then up here Kumasi, probably Kumasi or Kumasi, are both. We'll talk about Zanzibar because I know how to pronounce that one. These are AI controlled cities. They're not. I know I keep saying AI. Everything in this is AI, other than my wee civilization, because the computers controlling Philip and everybody else that we'll come across. But what Zanzibar, what the city states are, is they're just one city. They can't grow into other cities. They can't grow into an empire. They can't settle settlers. If I want to, I can attack them and take them over, which I might end up doing. We'll see. But there's different types of city states, and if you click on them here, it'll tell you this guy, Zanzibar, is a gold city state. if we look here at this unknown pronunciation city, it is a culture city, and you can get science cities, you can get military cities, you can get production cities. There's city states, so there's a number of them. What they do is when you meet them, you have the option to send them envoys, and throughout the game, if you look up here in the top left hand or the right top bar, you get envoys based on your influence points per turn. What envoys are is they're just we like diplomats that you send across to these city states. Now you never see them on the map. It's literally just a running counter. And because I've discovered Zanzibar first, I already have one envoy. If you look here, one envoy with them. What the envoy does is, it'll show you here down on the right hand side, one envoy gives me +2 gold in the capital and in every market or lighthouse building. Now we haven't built a market or lighthouse building yet because we haven't unlocked them, but once we do, then that's actually quite significant. So if you look here, +2 gold in the capital. So if I look up here on my gold, I'm getting +7 from cities, +7 from my capital, which will be 2 of that will be because of these envoys. Yes, because if you look here, my palace is already giving me +5, so then that envoy is giving me +2, so that's what brings me up to +7. Now, you can, as I say, you can take these, and you can militarily take them, and they tend to be fairly strong. They tend to be in pretty great locations, like where your capital starts. So once I discover this area around this, we'll discover that they have at least one luxury resource and maybe a strategic resource or two, a decent amount of resources. And if you look, that they sort of start a wee bit ahead in that, like, they already have, I can tell these are grayed out, but they already have farms and such built on a lot of these tiles, on these 3 tiles. So the farms are builder upgrades. But as you've seen there, I've only just got my first builder this turn, or last turn, and got my first improvement this turn. So they're a wee bit ahead. I probably wouldn't be able to take them now if I wanted to. So right now we'll stay on friendly terms. I'll get this wee bonus from the envoys. And then once I get 3 envoys, you get more of a bonus. 6 envoys, more of a bonus. And then this unique bonus as well for these envoys. But the thing is that city states are linked. Like, I can do that with them, other civs can do that with them. So Philip, once he discovers this guy, can send envoys to him, and if Philip or any other civ has more envoys in a city state than I do, then I actually would lose this last bonus. So if you see here, it doesn't, once I mouse over, it says 3 envoys and more than any other civilization. So at the end, this is quite a big bonus and it's worth a lot, but a lot of civs then will be fighting for that. And once Philip gets, finds this guy, he'll probably put 1 envoy. Oh, he has, it's in here, he has already found Philip. So Philip's found him now. The reason why I have 1 envoy and Philip will probably have 0 right now is because I found Zanzibar first. And if we look at, I'm gonna say Kumasai. If we look here, I have 0 envoys with Kumasai because Philip will have found him first, because if you remember, Philip came from this direction, so he found him. So Philip will have 1 envoy with her, and I don't. If you look up here as well, this is the overview of all the city states on the map right now. We've only discovered 2, so there's only 2 on it, but the suzerain is when you get 3 envoys with them and more. So once I reach that stage, and as long as I keep ahead of the other civs as well, then I'll be a suzerain for this city state, and then I'll get these bonuses from them. So that's city states in a nutshell. What have I done now? I need to send my builder. Where you upgrade depends where your city's situated and what you're looking from your city, and what resources you have and such. If I'm going back into the citizen view here, the tiles I'm working right now, which is the ones I selected before, are the 2 food tiles, so the rice and the cattle tile, 2 food. This one, you'd never not be working this one because it's the best tile I have by a mile, spices, and once I get that upgraded it'll be even better. And then horses. So they're the 4 tiles I would think I should be working, and I'm happy enough that I'm working. So if I want to upgrade anywhere with my builder, I should be upgrading any of these tiles. Obviously I've just upgraded the horses. No point at this stage upgrading the likes of the wheat here, because if our citizens aren't working that tile, then we would be wasting the upgrade because we don't get the bonus of these extra you know, right now, because we're not working this tile, we're not getting this 2 food in 1 production. So if I upgrade it to give me an extra food or whatever, it won't matter because we're not working it, so we won't get it. So what I want to upgrade is either here or here. So I'm just gonna go, because it'll be quicker, I'm gonna go to this one, and this will give me another production once I upgrade it next turn. So bounce on to the next turn, and we've nearly unlocked pottery. Foreign trade is well on its way, and there are several barbarians on their way to me. So this is the slinger piece that I was mentioning earlier. This is a barbarian slinger. If I left my scout there next turn, that slinger would probably pepper me with a ranged attack, and then their warriors would come in and kill me, which I don't want. Chances are for them to be coming from that direction, chances are their camp's actually over here, and it'll be related to this scout. I still want to kill this scout, because as it is, these barbarians don't actually know my city's here. They know my guys are here, they'll attack me if they can, but they don't know my city's here, so they won't come down on me. What they are attacking, or who they are attacking, is Kumasai. And that's why this warrior is weak. So city states are enemies with barbarians, and they will attack each other. And if I vanquish these barbarians and maybe destroy their camp wherever it is in here somewhere, Kumasai will absolutely love me, and they'll start to become friendly with me, and that offers all sorts of benefits. But for now, I am going to make sure I trap in this scout and get them killed, as I say, so that they don't come at my city. At least not yet. They probably will eventually, but any turns I can buy myself are worth it. So my builder's ready here. He's reached the tile. I'm just going to get him to build the pasture again. Now this again just gives us 1 production for building pasture around the cattle. Cattle aren't a strategic resource or anything like that, like horses are. They're just different that way. Horses you can use for military. Cattle are purely just a resource to improve your city, and that's it. So if I roll forward here, monuments 4 turns away, potteries 1 turn. Okay, this scout is coming at my city now.
No man ever wetted clay and then left it.
Okay.
As if there would be bricks by chance and fortune.
It's Sean Bond doing his, or Sheen Bean, never sure which one. Sean Bean, of course, doing his narrating duties. So we've unlocked pottery, and what that'll do is that will allow us to build a granary. So that might be the next thing we build in the city. I'll decide in 3 turns once the monument's built. For now, we need to choose new research. Now, new research, couple of options. We've got archery, which will help, which will allow us to create archers here, which is the improved version of the slinger, so they're obviously a stronger military unit. We can get writing as well, which is looking quite likely. Writing's important because writing is the first research you can do that will help increase your future research. So in my mind that means it should almost always be pushed pretty early on, because if we push that, and I'll describe this in greater detail later, but if we push that, it allows our city the option of increasing its science quite significantly, and therefore it means we can push these others quickly. Also, the fact that I've met another civilization and I have the Eureka moment for that means right now that seems like a no-brainer to me to go towards writing. And yet turns really ain't that bad for a research a technology and the line of that, because if we look here at the turns, everything else 13 turns in its line, so we'd should go for that pretty quickly. Now what I do have to consider is these enemy barbarians. Now I can't see them right now, so I'm going to heal this guy. I moved my warrior into that tile because certain terrains, if you think I've discussed them before, but certain terrains, so plains or like grassland or forest, offer different bonuses for fighting. Forest adds a defensive bonus, and if you see here, it actually says when you mouse over it, defense modifier 3. So it means if somebody comes in and attacks me, my warrior will get a bit of a defense bonus, and it'll make it harder for them to wipe me out, or for them even to win the fight at all. So I've just put him there. I know these barbs are still floating around here somewhere, even though I can't see them, so I'm keeping them there from a defensive point of view. Also, this guy will mean that they won't be able to hit my scout, at least not next turn while he's healing. So I'm going to leave the two of them there for now. Unit needs orders. This guy, okay, my builder needs to build his third improvement. Because I can't yet improve this spices resource because I haven't researched irrigation, I am going to build my third one here. I'm going to build a farm here, and that'll increase the food output of this tile, and again it'll increase the growth and therefore the population of Munich, and ultimately that's very, very important in the early game. So rolling this forward, I'm going to leave him here again. I'm going to fortify him on this tile. Again, fortifying him will add his defensive, add a bonus to his defense, and that's what's shown by if you mouse over this, so it's shown by the shape of a shield as well. But my scout needs healed, so I'm going to keep healing him. This guy is going to build a farm as discussed, and there, because I have now upgraded 3 things, I think my progress towards craftsmanship has advanced. So craftsmanship is purple, so therefore you know it's a civic. Your knowledge of irrigation has advanced, okay, because I farmed a resource, so that's a research. So that's a couple of good Eurekas there for one fell swoop. Now, nothing happening next turn again. Okay. Hopefully this scout should be healed soon. There we go. One more turn maybe, and that warrior as well is healing. Yes, I briefly mentioned there the shape of a shield. If you look at this warrior's icon, should I say, it's circular because he's moving, whereas these guys, that's like shield shape because they're fortified. I believe that does give a defensive bonus to when you're attacked and you're fortified. It's like you've put walls up and dug ditches and you're waiting on the attack kind of thing. So Munich now. Munich already, which is pretty quick. If you look at this red thing on the top of it, I've discussed before about amenities, it's saying insufficient amenities. So if I click in here, I discussed before in the last episode, or maybe episode 1, that I needed 1 amenity and I had 2, whereas now I need 3 and I only have 2, and the citizens are displeased. So I need to fix that ASAP, because what this is doing, it's slowing down growth and it's slowing down the yield of, so the production and the gold and research and everything, all the yields will be down right now. So I need to fix this ASAP. And the way to fix that, the quickest way for me to fix it in this circumstance, is to get some kind of luxury resource, and that'll get me the amenities. Now, to be able to upgrade the luxury resource, I'm going to need another builder, so I'm going to push that and get another builder going ASAP. Where's this guy? This guy still needs healed. So what we're also going to work on then, after we get writing, I'm probably going to work on trying to get irrigation, because we just got a Eureka for it, so it should be fairly quick, and we will then be able to get that spices, which will again improve the yield of this tile, which is good because one of our citizens is working it, but it will also provide us the luxury resource of spices, and that will give our city some amenities and get rid of this debuff that's happening right now. Now, of course, me up here concerned about these barbarians, which Kumasai, to be fair, seems to be dealing with alright, but we have another scout down here, and there's no way that my guys are going to be able to reach him to kill him before he brings his guys, but I'm going to have to bring my guys home anyway, because I'm going to have a fight on my hands. If we keep rolling forward here, this guy, let's keep these going. Okay, and there, finally we've discovered the camp that I've mentioned several times. So this is a barbarian encampment, and you can tell that by all the stake walls and such, and there's generally always a unit in it. Problem is that unit, even in this early game, is a spearman. I haven't unlocked spearman. All I have is warriors here, basically clubmen. My scout's not going to do a whole load of damage to him. So once I get this builder up and going, I'm probably just going to have to circumvent this camp for now, but I know it's there. and to stay well aware of it, because once I produce this builder, those guys will come out and steal my builder. They also produce
Every
units
nation
like
lives
that
by
fairly
exchanging.
quickly. So that warrior was just created there. And here's this scout as well. So I'm going to see if I can perhaps attack that scout. If I'm going to end up attacking this warrior, I want to fight him on my terms. I want to fight him on defense where I'm on the forest and I have the advantage, and I think he'll hit me next turn, so I'm just going to leave there. What we did unlock there, we have 25 minutes. I'm gonna need to close this one down shortly, but what we did unlock there is we got foreign trade, and what that now has unlocked is traders and a few other things, but I will discuss them in the next video. For now, I think it's a good place to actually stop the video. A few things happening at once there. I don't want to overcomplicate the one video, because if this is all brand new to you and you're a complete beginner, then there's a lot. I know there's a lot in this game, and it's relatively straightforward, but I am trying to break it down in smaller chunks so that they're easier to digest when you watch them. So that's why I'm going to cut it off here. As I say normally, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed what you've seen, feel free to give me a like and a subscribe. And if you want to leave any comments down below saying what you'd like to see me cover, either games or particular parts of Civ, then I'll happily listen to any requests. But for now, I hope you have a good day, evening, whatever time it is there, and all the best. Thank you.